guys, Sally here. I am the drone girl, and today I have a very exciting guest. This is Ayisha Minter. Aisha is a flight instructor with Wing. Wing has been all over the news. I saw some of their sites flying out of a Walmart in Texas, which is where you are based, but Wing has been rapidly expanding. They just launched in Atlanta, so I'm excited to hear what it takes to actually become a drone delivery pilot, and there is no one better than you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Sally, for having me.
So you started first as a flight operator, and then you pivoted to become a flight instructor, all with Wing, which is the drone delivery arm affiliated with Google. What was that transition like to go from flight operator to flight instructor?
It was amazing, first off. I started with Wing, believe it or not, 5 years ago.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. It will officially be 6 years in January.
That is a long time in the tech world. Most people just do, I think, 1 or 2.
Right. But Wing is such an amazing company, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. But to start off, 5 years ago, I got hired as a SUAS operator. And what that generally means is I was the pilot in command. At the time, we were also trained as ground support operators, who are the ones putting out the aircraft in the morning and putting them away. And prior to that time frame as well, we were visual observers. So multi-qualified in the role. And about 2 years ago, I moved over to the standards and instruction team as a qualified instructor. I lead our ground evaluators and instructors, and I'm one of 6 check pilots for Wing.
Okay, so 6. So do you travel around to the different launch points? Are you based in just Texas, or do you go all around to everywhere?
I'm glad you asked that, Sally. So Wing is amazing. We think of it as like any other Part 135 certificate air cargo delivery company, where we have our own training facility. We like to call it the Wing Academy. So I'm based in Dallas, Texas, and our Wing Academy is here in Dallas, Texas as well. So all of our pilots from across the country will come here and train for the week, get qualified on their crew roles, and then go back to their respective areas.
Wow, so even if they're based in Atlanta, they work in Atlanta, they're coming out to visit you for a week in Dallas and get their training.
Absolutely.
What are you doing during that week?
So during that week, the antithesis to this is really to get you introduced into how Wing operates. Not only that, but train you on your crew-specific roles. So we really want to get you into that checklist. I know it's traditional aviation sense, but it also extends to the drone industry space. Safety is our most important priority, and that checklist usage allows us to make sure that we operate on a safe manner. So you'll come see me for a week, and we'll go through all of the checklists, the crew roles and duties and responsibilities as an operator. And then once you've been qualified, meaning you've completed your check ride, you'll go back out to your service area and operate as a qualified Wing operator.
Amazing. It sounds really like you are going through a flight school just like any aircraft, which maybe is not surprising because I know you went to Embry-Riddle, which is cream of the crop when it comes to flight schools, and you've worked in a few different aspects of drone delivery for I know other companies also before landing at Wing. Did you know when you went to Embry-Riddle that you wanted to be in the drone delivery space?
That's funny that you bring that up. Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
So originally I went to Embry-Riddle from the influence of my father. I grew up in an aviation-centric family. My father went to Embry-Riddle, came out as a pilot. He went to the United States Air Force and then retired recently as a 777 captain at United. And my goal was to fly with him. I always wanted to become a commercial airline pilot to fly with my father. And it changed freshman year. I was walking across campus, and you know, when they have the clubs and activities out for the summer and you're interested in different things, I saw in big white lettering, UAS. And I just needed to know what it was. And I went to the tent, started talking to people, and they were telling me about the drone industry and space, and I was instantly hooked, all the way up to the point next day I went to career services and changed my career path.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you took a bunch of classes that were specific to drones at Embry-Riddle, I'm guessing.
Yes, I did.
What sorts of classes stand out to you as things that people might not expect that you would learn going to school for drones?
I think the biggest thing is communication. A lot of the
Interesting.
classes relayed back on communication, and you don't necessarily think about that as a drone operator, but it's really important in our space. Knowing how to communicate to others, knowing how to communicate versus just like traditional aviation sense where you're talking to individuals in the cockpit or you're talking to your flight crew, you really have to communicate across the industry to engineers, to mechanics, all the way down to your ground crew. You have to be able to talk in their lingo and give information that is relevant to them.
Interesting. So, even though you have sort of your set groundwork of things that you do as your checklist before you're actually taking off with the flight, it seems like there's a lot of other communication that is involved in the whole process. I'm sure that's also you training these people for their week. What are maybe some things that drone pilots should learn about communication if they didn't go to school at Embry-Riddle? What would you like my listeners to know?
Sally, that's a great question. I think it just surmises into one thing: being clear and concise. Just like you're going to be clear and concise on the airwaves when you're talking in traditional aviation, it's the same thing in the drone space. You want to be clear and concise in the information that you're providing so that people have actionable items.
Interesting. And I guess that is an area where I would say is very similar to traditional crewed aviation is you also need to be concise there.
Yes, absolutely.
Things got operations all around a bunch of different Walmarts. I went to a Walmart in Fort Worth and I had some Powerade delivered to me.
Amazing.
Very clutch on a hot Dallas day. But what is the climate like in the Dallas Fort Worth area when it comes to how the people perceive drone delivery?
Sally, that's a great question. And hopefully it got to you soon and quickly, right?
It did. It did. It was fast.
Amazing. Yes, I think within the DFW space, we have been able to not only show our commitment to the communities out here, but also provide that last mile delivery logistics that you got to experience, Sally, out there. So the DFW community has been so warm and welcoming to our industry at large, but specifically wing. When we touched down here, it was instantaneous. We were talking to different parts of the community. We were making sure that our presence was known to provide a safe aspect, to let individuals know that this is a safe environment, to provide last mile delivery logistics. And I love this. During the summer, when students are out from school, the first thing that they talk about is, hey, mom, dad, can I get something delivered from Wing?
Nice.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and especially in a place like Dallas, I really think about the value. There's so much traffic in Dallas
Yes.
that if the drone can help avoid me getting in the car, I'm all about that. I hate cars. So
Yes,
so
yes.
the more we can minimize that would be great.
Oh, yes. And if you've been down here, you know the traffic can get pretty hard sometimes.
Right. Now, with the launch of the new wing facility in Atlanta, have you had to change anything about how you teach? Is there anything different about the Atlanta operations versus the Dallas operations?
I'm glad you asked that, Sally. To be honest with you, there's nothing different in terms of training. Yes, there may be some weather components that are different, but everyone gets trained the exact same way. And the reason that we can do that is because of the reliability of our system and the autonomy that our system has to it. So, as an operator for a pilot, my main concern is weather, not necessarily where the aircraft is flying or where the location of the delivery is. It's really just to make sure that I'm perceiving weather appropriately to make those decisions.
Interesting. At what point would you make a different decision? Would you shut down operations in terms of weather quality?
I'm glad you asked that, Sally. So we are able to operate in extensive weather
Yeah.
climates. So it's not necessarily predicated to a specific location or demographic. It's when we start getting into heavier rain that's a bigger consideration, or those thunderstorms, lightning, things that could happen to traditional aviation that would stop you from flying. But
Hmm.
in normal senses, we have such a vast system that we can operate in any weather climate.
So if you see a big storm coming in, are there still decisions that pilots need to make in terms of maybe operating a little bit differently?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
It
okay.
would cause the pilot to look at that weather and say, are we within limitations that
Hmm.
is prescribed for that particular aircraft or that operation? And if we're not, it's simple to just go on a flight hold. Just like how you have ground stops in traditional aviation, we can hold flights to prevent any safety issues.
Right, right. So I know you're a flight instructor now. You spent, I think, about 3 years as a flight operator. Can you tell me what is a day in the life like for someone who is a SUAS flight operator for Wing or really any drone delivery company?
Yes, the day in the life is exciting and amazing to be a part of. You get to operate in such a vast majority of locations. We no longer, as pilots, have to be co located with the nest or
Right.
where our operations are happening. So they go to a remote operations center and they'll sit at their desk with a ground control station, and they're servicing a whole metropolitan area at certain locations, right? We can operate specifically for a pilot within 12 hours. However, what we're looking for again is just managing airspace. So your day to day is just to make sure that the aircraft are operating healthy. There's no weather limitations that you're butting up against, but really the aircraft is autonomous all the way
Hmm.
up to the detect and avoid system. So you as a pilot, you're just communicating with your crew as required and verifying that weather is good to go and operations within your airspace is nice for you to fly for the day.
Yeah. How has that been different over the past 2, 3, 5 years? Where I know, there was a time where your eyes had to be on the drone at all times.
Yes, it is completely different. As a pilot, even in traditional aviation sense, there's so much for you to do, human in the loop, I like to say. But now we're really the human on the loop. We're really just there to observe to make sure that the systems are working nominally. So the attention span as a pilot is different. You don't have so many physical characterizations that you have to do and inputs. It's
Hmm.
more of just making sure that the system operates normally, nominally, like we like to see, right? And I think that gives an opportunity to make the drone industry grow. There's not that much that you have to do as a pilot in the sense of having so much experience. When I
Mm.
started, a lot of the pilots that were coming in had prior military experience
Yeah.
or traditional aviation experience. This gives an opportunity for so many other people to get in.
Yeah, I do talk to a lot of people who say I'm, retired Air Force or something, and amazing to have that level of experience, but also really amazing to know that there are opportunities for so many people to get in the door, and it's not something that's super gate kept to having only Air Force experience.
Exactly.
I think that leads into my next question is you do have the coolest job. If someone wants to have your job, what would you recommend for them to get started?
I'm glad you asked this, Sally. To me, there's three things, three key points. Obviously, you still have to get your Part 107, have to have a valid driver's license. Those requirements still remain the same. But today, my three components that I always tell a student, you have to be able to adapt.
Hmm.
Communication is key. And obviously, things are changing so frequently. Be okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. I do think, especially with these Part 108 rules and wondering what the finalized rule is going to be, there's so much to keep up with and everything's changing. Do you need to have eyes on the drone? Do you not? How far can it fly? All of this. And adaptability really is the key word here.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned a lot of things changing. What do you think are the biggest changes on the horizon for the drone delivery industry?
As we scale, it's all about scalability, the expansion of what a pilot can do. Sally, I went from back 5 years ago, operating with one aircraft
Right,
at
yeah.
one desk, to now being able to operate multiple aircrafts simultaneously. We want to be able to get to a point with new regulations to operate a whole metroplex, to expand further than what we have done before.
Yeah.
And that's what I see in the future.
But what is the limit of how many drones that one single person can be operating at a time right now?
Here specifically at Wing for the US, one pilot can operate 32 aircraft simultaneously. Yes.
That's a good fact. Is it more outside the US?
Yes, outside of the US, in Australia, 50.
Wow, okay, all right.
Yes.
And the hope would be to be even more than 50, I'm guessing.
Yes, the hope would be not even to think about just one aircraft or having a limitation to the amount of aircraft that we could fly.
Yeah, yeah. Now, for the consumers out there, everyone is always hoping drone delivery will come to my city. What do you think consumers can expect going forward? Because they don't necessarily care how many operators there are per drone. They just want their ice cream coming to them ASAP. So what's next for consumers in the drone delivery?
I'm glad you asked that. As you are well aware, we announced that we are operating in Atlanta, and we will also be moving to Florida and Houston this year as well. We've also expanded in Charlotte. So as you see this, we're going to continue to expand to multiple locations, hopefully near you.
San Francisco. I'm still waiting. we do have the Waymos in San Francisco, and I do think if it were between drone delivery and Waymos, I know I am the drone girl, but I love a Waymo also. So I can't be too greedy and have them both because I'm happy with my Waymo.
Yeah, I hear you.
Aisha, thank you so much for joining me. It was a joy to chat with you.
It was
Thanks so much,
amazing.
and happy flying.
Thank you. You too, Sally.